and then who knows what's going to happen when it's all said and done. You're talking about, a team that, nobody's talking about, like your USC could be the national champions at the end of the day. Who knows? Come out of nowhere and knock everybody off.
Well, I mean, you look, they already beat Utah. I mean, who knows? If they could beat Oregon, they have to go. I think they're playing Washington this week. If they can knock off the Huskies, who knows? Who knows where USC will be? Because no one has them winning the Pac-12 or whatever the heck that division is called now. No one has them. No one has them. Being. I mean, UCLA is another one that could shock you. They had a nice win last week, so who knows?
Yeah, they did.
How it's all going to shake out. It again, like you said earlier, it's just one of those things where it's too early. It's too early to say, okay, yeah, this is going to be the team that at the end is going to be there, because a lot can change. I mean, I think we're all hoping certain teams don't get there, but in the end, that's just, it doesn't always work out that way. But all we can do is hope that our team, if our team doesn't get a national championship, maybe someone in the conference that isn't our rival wins it. I mean, for me, if it's an SEC team and it's not Tennessee, I'm cool with that.
Right.
And I'm assuming with you, if it's not Ohio State, and you're even though they may have beat Michigan, or they may have beat Florida, or they may have beat USF earlier in the season, you're like, okay, this is the conference. The conference is now could be the champ. It gets a conference thing.
It definitely looks good for the conference if you can win it all. And especially if you're trying to recruit some kid, it's like who's got offers, and you're like, hey, come here and you can play against the national champs.
Correct. Yep.
So it does look good for the conference, and and it's such a grind, and people just don't want to acknowledge the fact that it is such a long season. I know it's only 13 weeks, but it goes on into from the beginning of September to the end of November, and if you're lucky, the beginning of January. Ideally, you play the first week of January. You play for 6 months, and if that's not what you want, then are you really a fan at that point?
Yeah, true.
That's what I wish for. That's what I expect. I expect to play in January. I expect to play in January. I understand that that can't happen every year, but going into the season, that's the goal. You circle your rival, you circle every game, and you put a big star on, and you put a big star on the first Monday in January.
Correct.
Because if you're not willing to get up for the Indianas and the Ole Misses of the world, how do you expect to get up for the Ohio States and Floridas of the world?
Correct. I agree. I agree.
And I love my team, and I'll support them until I die, and probably long after I'm dead and gone, I'll still support them. But and
good man.
It's about, and going back to Michigan, if they fire Harbaugh at the end of the year, or even at the beginning, in the middle of the year, and it's like I said, talking about who you're going to get to replace him, and it's like who would want to come to Michigan right now with the atmosphere our fans have created.
Right.
If you come to Michigan, you got to deal with all the crap that comes with coming to Michigan, because the fan base has such unrealistic expectations year in and year out that if you blow your nose wrong, they want you fired.
Correct.
And who in their right mind wants to come and deal with that? Because the one thing about it for Harbaugh is he's coming home. It's his alma mater. It's big money. If you're Are you going to get $7 million a year to come coach at Michigan, or $5 million, or whatever his contract was when he first started? And you're not, if you come to Michigan, you come to Michigan now. It's not like when coming to Michigan after Brady Hoke, we're such a bad team, and and it was so miserable, and we were just looking for any shot in the arm. And you're coming now, and with as good as Ohio State's been, Michigan State, and the rest of the conference has been very, 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 very tough over the last, decade and a half, and anything less than a national championship, and they want you run out on a rail.
Correct. Yep. Doesn't always happen like that either. I can't say that, if Michigan was to offer me a contract, I'd be in Ann Arbor by Monday, but they ain't offering me a contract anytime soon. Right.
If you're Les Miles, and you're at Kansas right now, you got a nice job, you get to play against the Big 12, your only competition is your real competition is Texas and in Oklahoma. You beat everybody else, and you can steal a win against Texas and Oklahoma every now and again, and you're set for life. Why would you give that up to come to Michigan, to have such lofty expectations that if you get beat by a better team, they want you gone.
Yep. Well, but
I know you got to get going on to your other calls and stuff.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off there. Yeah, I do.
That's okay. If you want to hold me over, and if you got time, I'll come back. If not, then we'll talk to you next week.
Let me go ahead and meet you, bud, and I'll be right back with you.
All right, then.
Hey, John, how are you, bud?
Doing good. How about yourself, Bradley?
Good, buddy. Thank you for understanding last week and coming back on this week. I appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. As long as I get to talk wrestling, I don't care when they need me on.
So tell me, bud, what was your thought? I didn't get a chance to watch the pay-per-view. What was your overall grade on Clash of Champions?
I thought it was decent for what it was. I mean, everybody kind of figured some of the outcomes. Like, people figured that Rollins and Strowman were going to lose the Raw Tag titles to Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. People figured Rollins was going to defeat Strowman. A lot of it was very predictable.
Okay.
The only part that I didn't see coming was I didn't see the fact that Luke Harper was going to come back. All of a sudden, after he had been off the TV for upwards of 6 months. So that one kind of surprised me a bit. I also didn't figure we would see Eric Rowan get a win on the pay-per-view as a single star.
Mm-hmm.
Which also kind of surprised me, being how they booked him. Those were probably the only two shockers, really, of the night.
Okay.
Everything else I kind of expected to happen.
There was nothing. I mean, I have a printout of the results from everything. The Cruiserweight Championship took place on the pre-show, the kickoff part of the show. So nothing jumped out at you there between those three?
No, they always. I say it on my show constantly. The Cruiserweights right now get the short end of the stick because they put on the best match of the night. Because usually when they're put on is usually when the arena's first getting packed, so half the crowd can't even see the match. And those three guys, Lince Dorado, Humberto Carrillo, and Drew Gulak, I thought worked phenomenal together. But again, I don't think I've seen a bad cruiserweight match on a pay-per-view yet. Okay.
The next one, bud, would be the United States Championship, and that was also on the kickoff show. That was AJ Styles and Cedric Alexander. I can't believe they put Styles on the kickoff show. That's interesting. He's one of the up-and-coming stars.
I think I think it's kind of funny to call him an up-and-coming star, Bradley, because he's been doing this for quite some time.
Correct.
But that putting that on the pre-show, yeah, you can sort of say that was a little surprising. But realistically, they had to put. I mean, they weren't going to. I thought if they were going to put any match on there, the one I thought they would have done is I would have figured they would have done the one with the Miz and Nakamura.
Okay.
For the IC belt, being that match has had literally no build to it, I figured they would have at least done that, because the thing is, people forget this. Cedric Alexander is from North Carolina.
Okay. All right.
And I don't know if you've read the reports lately, but the ending of that match doesn't come as a surprise, being that Vince McMahon doesn't want to push him.
Okay.
It's been on the record numerous amount of times that he doesn't like him for some reason. I don't see why. I mean, to me, Cedric Alexander is one of the most talented guys on the roster right now.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm not surprised.
Okay. Yeah, the one you mentioned but earlier is one of the surprises. Is the next one would be the Raw Tag Team Championships, and that was Rude and Ziggler defeating Rollins and Strowman. Now, the funny thing about that is as you mentioned earlier too, is they had to be tag teamed together, and then later that night they faced off in singles competition. How, as you being a big wrestling insider as you are, how do you take that as your partners with, and it seems like to me that they were pretty good as a tag team, but now you have to break apart and face each other in singles competition. How as a tag team, and being that you were the champions, how do you then turn your mind off and go, okay, now we got to do a singles match together? So I mean, how do you see that?
I think if I was booking that, the best way I would have done it was I would have had Strowman, because the thing is, you got to understand, going into their title match later on in the night, we'll get to that in a bit, both of them were babyfaces going into that match. And you're not going to get his part. So to me, I'm always of the mentality that you always have to have a good guy go up against a bad guy. Now, I know they're not going to turn Rollins heel right now, especially who he's going up against at Hell in a Cell. But on the other side, they're not going to turn Strowman heel right now, because I don't think they know what the hell they're doing with him. So I think that would have been the way I would have done it, is I would have had Strowman basically also you would have had Rollins accidentally cost them the match, and then I would have had Strowman just go ballistic if I was doing it. But to answer your question, I don't know how they do it realistically, because it's never been done. From what I had read, it's never been done before.
Okay.
Where you have two tag team champions who have to face each other for the main title later on in the night. The closest we ever had to that, where all of a sudden a tag team had to face each other for a title, was when Ambrose came back after his injury, and Rollins won the Raw Tag Team titles on a night when Roman went out with the leukemia announcement, and then Ambrose turned heel on Rollins. That I expected to happen. With this one, I'm like, they basically they keep giving Strowman opportunities, but for some reason they never actually pull the trigger on him, and I don't understand why.
Well, see, that's a question that I have to ask too. He is a big star in the WWE, has been for a while since Bray Wyatt brought him in. Why isn't that he's not a champ? It's shocking to me that he hasn't been a singles champ.
I can tell you exactly why. Even though he didn't have a lot of time in NXT, he's still a product of NXT.
Okay.
NXT, before they made the move to USA Network, has always been Triple H's project, not Vince. If you notice, there's very few people. If you look through the entire list of everybody who's come up from NXT, there's maybe half a dozen people who have actually made it to the main roster and has become successful. So it's just simple as the fact that Vince doesn't watch NXT, obviously before they made the move to USA Network. So he didn't know about Strowman. And the fact that they haven't given him the title is mind-baffling to me, because let's be honest, you brought this guy in when they had the draft in 2016. You basically had him go on a run where he basically destroyed everybody.
Right.
And now you're making him basically look like a joke.
And and I'll be honest with you, but I really think, honestly, with him, I think the